The 3-year Carolingian Civil War culminated in the decisive Battle of Fontenoy-en-Puisaye, also called the Battle of Fontenoy, fought at Fontenoy, near Auxerre, on the 25th of June 841. The war was the contention over the territorial inheritances, the division of the unified lands of Charlemagne's Carolingian Empire between his grandsons, the 3 surviving sons of Louis the Pious. Despite provisions by Louis the Pious, war broke out between his sons and nephews. It was a defeat for the allied forces of Lothair I of Italy and Pepin II of Aquitaine, and a victory for Charles the Bald and Louis the German, while hostilities continued until another 2 years into 843. The Treaty of Verdun ending the war shaped and influences history in Europe even to this late modern date. Background: Louis the Pious throughout his long reign had entreated to divide his empire meritoriously amongst his sons, all his sons, as it was required by the Salic law of the Franks. With the late-born Charles, his attempts led to civil wars which culminated in his vindicating defeat of his last rebellious son, Louis, in 839. At Worms, on the 30th of May that year, he divided his empire for the last time, giving Lothair the kingdom he already held and the imperial title, with all the other lands of the east and Charles receiving all the lands of the west. Louis was left with Bavaria while Pepin, his grandson, was left out of the inheritance. On the 24th of July 840 in Strasbourg, Lothair precipitated a new civil war by declaring his imperium over all the lands of the empire and, joining with his nephew Pepin, attacked the Loire Valley. The barons of Burgundy divided over allegiance to Charles and Lothair. Hermann III of Auxerre, Arnul of Sens, and Audrey of Orton pledged themselves for Lothair, while Guerin of Provence and Orbit of Avalon remained with Charles. Gerard II, Count of Paris, Lothair's brother-in-law, joined Lothair also. In March 841, the Burgundians faithful to Charles accompanied Guerin to join him, and in May, Louis of Bavaria and his troops met Charles' army at Chalons-sur-Marne. In June, Pepin finally joined with Lothair in Auxerre. The battle, the two armies, of about 150,000 men each, met on the 25th of June. According to tradition, Charles established his camp at Thury, on the hill of Roichat. Lothair and Pepin initiated battle and took the upper hand until the arrival of Guerin and his army of Provençals. While Pepin and his contingent continued to push back Charles' men, Lothair was slowly pushed back himself by Louis the German and the Provençals. Finally, when victory seemed sure for Charles, Bernard of Septimania entered the conflict on his side and the victory became a rout. According to Andreas Agnellus of Ravenna, a total of 40,000 men died, including Gerard of Auvergne and Riquin of Nantes, who fell at Charles's side. Neither dew nor showers nor rain ever fell again on that field where the most battle-hardened warriors had perished, mourned by the mothers, the sisters, the brothers, and the friends. On Charles's side and Louis too, the fields were white with the linen habits of the dead, as they might have been with birds in the autumn. In spite of his personal gallantry, Lothair was defeated and fled to his capital of Aachen. With fresh troops he entered upon a war of plunder, but the forces of his brothers were too strong for him, and taking with him such treasure as he could collect, he abandoned to them his capital. Angilbert's account. The verses by Angilbert, who fought the battle on the side of Lothair, are cited by historian Eleanor Shipley Duckett as the most striking of all these Latin records of the battle. The verses in English are